Hey, how's it going, everyone? So today I figured let's do a tier list because people seem to love tier lists, and let's do a tier list on all 8 seasons of Dexter for because people don't like the last 4 seasons, especially the last two in particular. And so I just want to put it out there. All opinions are my own. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So the first season, I got to put it S because it's the first time that you really see a series like this where you've got a serial killer who also works as a blood spatter expert at Miami Metro Police Department. So you got all that going on. And then you have characters such as Dokes, LaGuerta, Deb, Batista. You start meeting all the sort of anchor point characters that are going to basically be in every single season from first to last, just about all of them. And yes, there's going to be spoilers because the show's been done for a long time. New blood has come out and gone as well. So, yeah. And I noticed New Blood isn't in here. I apologize for that, but we're just doing the original Dexter because there's 8 seasons. New Blood only has 1 season. I could have sort of lumped New Blood in here, but if I had to, I'll put it right at a B, just so you guys are aware of where I stand with New Blood. But yeah, the first season, it's just great. It sort of, I like the very first episode, how they are able to have enough time to basically lay the groundwork out, like explain who Dexter is, what he does, and why he does it. And then throughout the first season, like I'd say the first 5, 6 episodes, you start getting a lot of flashbacks of Dexter's life, starting to learn more about him throughout each and every episode. And that's another smart thing that I feel like they really did with season one is they put those little sort of backstory or history moments about Dexter into each episode so that people will come back and watch the next episode of the next because you want to learn more and more about Dexter's past and figure out why he is how he is. But yeah, season one, just great. Figure I'll talk about the serial killer in season one, the ice truck killer, aka Brian Moser, aka Dexter's biological brother. I thought that was just a great sort of twist and story arc with the ice truck killer. Him sort of wooing Deb and capturing him and just toying around with Dexter. I love that a lot. It really showed that your older brother is always going to be smarter than you and is always going to be a step ahead of you no matter what. And they really showed that very well. So overall, it's an S season. Season two, the what is it? Oh, season two is the Bay Harbor Butcher, aka Dexter himself. That's the serial killer. So season two is where you really start to see sort of Dokes going out of his way and following Dexter a lot. You know, they open the season up with him basically showing that he's trying to act even more normal than what he already has been throughout, the first season and throughout his life. So he's doing bowling and he's doing a whole bunch of just weird things and stuff that he normally wouldn't do, but he's doing it because Dokes is tailing him and he needs to act as normal as possible, and eventually Dokes sort of, gets off his trail and what have you. Season two, I'd say the only downside, and I think it's gonna go sort of either way for people. I'm sort of in the middle, and it's Lila in particular. It felt weird seeing Dexter sort of have a relationship and a connection that is beyond what he's used to, and you can tell that he was sort of uncomfortable with it at first because he didn't know what to do, but then he started to trust Lila, and then it turns out things obviously weren't as they seem. But and I would say this is kind of a big spoiler if you're in the process of watching Dexter for the first time, so uh mute for 10 seconds. Dexter, anytime he's in a relationship with somebody besides Rita, the person is probably the same type of person as him. So a serial killer, a poisoner, whatever. They're all bad people in some way, but they have motive just like Dexter. So they're sort of in the same boat as him. And yeah, but season two, with Dokes getting pinned as the Bay Harbor Butcher, Dokes dying at the end, very, very. Um, I wasn't necessarily disappointed that Dokes died, but I was just kind of upset. Like, why did you have to kill off Dokes? He was such a good character to have on the show, but I understand why they did it. So for season two, if I'm gonna be completely honest, um, I'd say a solid B. Only because we're not getting a different serial killer. That's really the only reason. All right, so moving on to season three. I believe season three is the Miguel Prado story arc. So this season was definitely interesting. I feel like the reviews must have came back on season two, and people seem to love the idea of Dexter kind of showing who he really is to a person that he just met and becomes friends with. So they figured, let's try that again in season three, but let's have it be a very well known prosecutor and just see where it goes. And I thought it was great. I like Miguel as a character, I enjoyed him a lot. Obviously, Dexter killed his brother at the beginning. That's sort of how they meet. And the whole arc of Dexter and Miguel's friendship, I thought was really good. I really liked in it. I like that they showed that Dexter noticed, like, am I becoming friends with this guy who I just recently met? And he's sort of thinking to himself, like, is this something that I should be doing? And he knows, and and also basically the whole time that it's like, hey, um, well, you kind of are doing that, and he's kind of like, I don't know, the whole time. Like, he's very hesitant about everything. And even Miguel points it out at some points. He's just very on edge. He doesn't know what to do. And then obviously, what happens. We also have the serial killer for the season. It is the Skinner. Uh, George Kane is the Skinner. I really feel like the Skinner serial killer kind of had a backseat in this season. I felt like I was more interested in Miguel and Dexter's relationship with each other and seeing how far it goes before it goes too far at the end of the season. So the Skinner was I liked the serial killer. I mean, I don't really remember motive behind why, but this season I thought was pretty good. Not necessarily as good as the second season, but it's still gonna sit and be for sure. All right, season four. Everyone knows where season four goes. No, I'm gonna mention again if you are watching Dexter and you haven't got to season four, or you're on season four and has not finished it. Excuse me. Please do not watch the next about 4 to 5 minutes, give or take, of this because spoilers. So, season four is, in my opinion, the best season of Dexter. I think a lot of people will agree. I think I'd say at least 80% of the crowd who has seen Dexter says that season four is the best. And there's a reason for it. It's because they didn't necessarily change a whole lot. The only difference is that Dexter is now married with a kid. And so he's sort of living the suburban life. He's blending in even more, basically in plain sight at this point, which is what, he wants to do, is he wants to be sort of in plain sight throughout the whole time that he's living, basically. And season four, he's really like, you can tell like he's really got his hidden in plain sight down to a T. Him having a child, a family, a suburban home, carpooling, all that stuff. I believe the first episode is called The American Dream, which it makes sense. He's living the family life. And then you have the serial killer, Trinity. Trinity is such a interesting serial killer, such a interesting concept of how he works in threes, but later you find out that he really works in fours. I liked that, what's his name? Special Agent Lundy, Frank Lundy, comes back to sort of, and I didn't mention Lundy. He was in season 2, by the way, with the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff. But Lundy comes back season 4, says that he's retired, but he has some unfinished business to do regarding the Trinity killer, or the Trinity serial killer. And, they found out that it's been going on for over 30 years. He's doing it all over again, stuff like that. And I like John Lithgow, just incredible performance. I mean, he won an Emmy for his performance as the Trinity killer. He most certainly deserves it. And I would say season 4 is the best. I'm not going to talk too much about the ending because I think everybody kind of, if you've seen the ending, you can just think of it in your head and you understand how very sad it is. It's sort of a huge turning point for Dexter, and it's very heavy and very hard to watch. But yeah, season 4, best season by far. Season 5 is the Barrel Girl Gain season. This one was definitely interesting, to say the least. I would say interesting, but it was a concept, I believe, sort of derived. I mean, I think the barrels were derived from Jeffrey Dahmer, and then you have sort of this bigwig guy with all this money thinking he can do whatever he wants. Personally, season 5 is a little shaky, if I'm going to be honest. I do like the whole barrel dumping ground scene. I think that's really cool and interesting. But other than that, I mean, season 5 is honestly like, there's a reason it's middle of the road. Like, I feel like season 4 was you're at the top of the hill, and then season 5 you're slowly going down. But then again, you could put any other season after season 4 and they wouldn't be as good. But still, I feel like the downfall of season 5 is possibly that season 4 was so good, but also it was just very. It seemed like it was kind of going back to basics. Like, obviously, Dexter was sort of under some sort of trauma after his wife getting murdered, but it just didn't feel the same, if that makes sense. So, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I'll put it at C. 5th season at C. The 6th season, okay, so this one was definitely an interesting one. I really don't know how to sort of explain season 6. It's just very, very interesting. I think the only really good part about it was how intricate the kills were, how much time you could tell it took with each kill for the serial killer. So I thought that was interesting. But other than that, not really cool. I think it's only memorable because it's got like the mural scene and just some other things. But the twist at the end I thought was decent. They have the whole where Harry as a ghost is sort of talking to Dexter, being sort of devil's advocate slash whatever. And you soon realize that Travis Marshall, played by Colin Hanks, who is the serial killer in this season, he's doing the same thing. So you think that it's Travis Marshall and his professor mentor doing the killings together, but really his mentor was killed by Travis, and Travis is just essentially hallucinating the same way that Dexter does with his father Harry. And so I thought that twist was definitely interesting, to say the least. It threw me off for sure. I didn't really see it coming at all. But other than that, season six kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. The whole religion aspect is kind of whatever. Uh, you didn't really have to do that. You didn't have to make Dexter question his faith. It doesn't make sense. It's not like him. So for that, yeah, it's gotta go a D if I'm being 100% honest. Okay, two more seasons. Season 7, season 8. Okay, so season 7 had has I'm trying to think if Hannah McKay came in season 7 or not. I actually don't know what season Hannah came in, if I'm being honest. 6, 7, I can't remember. Either way, we have Hannah McKay. She's a poisoner. Um, Dexter meets her. Oh yeah, season 7. Dexter meets her because there was an inmate that was doing time, and he decided to come clean and basically tell police where the bodies were that he buried. And so they went to the dig site. Dexter was there. He was talking to him, and Dexter sort of learns about his partner in crime, talks to her, and that's Hannah McKay, and they sort of become an item. And yeah. But anyway, season 7 is the Kashka Brotherhood season with the Isaac Serco debacle going on. I believe Dexter, at the beginning of the season, kills the guys. You think it's okay? Sorry, I just stopped recording. I got a frog in my throat, and oh my god, my voice is weird. Anyways, um, talking about Isaac Serco, so I liked his character a lot. I liked that throughout you notice that him and Dexter are kind of, sort of at odds for a little bit, and then eventually him and Dexter actually sit down. Isaac sort of explains that the guy that killed Dexter wasn't his partner, it was his actual, like, lover. And so Dexter basically killed his essentially the love of his life. He was, hiding that he was gay because he's in the Kashka Brotherhood from Ukraine, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was very, very compelling, very heavy, and the conversation that they had, it sort of showed like that they could sort of make amends and basically, come together, and they do come together. And Isaac sort of, puts a heads up like, these guys are after you, but I'm going to help you to make sure that they don't kill you. And I love the driving range scene where Dexter is sort of doing his normal routine where he, gathers evidence and then goes at night, does what he does, all that stuff. So you think he's gathering intel at the driving range by watching this guy who has been paid to kill him. Or no, not, he wasn't at the driving range. He was at the shooting range, right? Because the guy was one of the assassins was a sharpshooter. The other was a very close quarters with a knife, and so the guy was at the shooting range. And I just love the scene where the guy's laying down. You can tell he's holding his breath, taking each shot, and then you can tell on his third shot he strays away, and you notice that Dexter had crawled underneath the divider and basically lifted him up and stabbed him and just killed him, and then let him just lay there where he was laying when he was doing his shooting. But overall, the Kashka Brotherhood arc, the Isaac Serco arc, I thought it was very well done. Um, Not as good, I would say, as the third and second season, but I would say it's in C for sure. I liked it a lot. And the final season. Oh, the final season. How you disappointed so many people. The only reason the season sucks is because of the ending and because of Deb dying. That's really what it comes down to. Other parts, I mean, you have the psychiatrist that comes in and she sort of, talks about she knows who Dexter is and everything like that. But personally, it's whatever, if I'm being honest. The whole learning that Harry wasn't the original person to come up with the code, he had help, all that stuff. It just, the amount of retcons and stuff like that, or not necessarily retcons, but sort of adding to a already established fact or storyline, it doesn't sit right. If I'm being honest, I don't know what they were honestly thinking. The eighth season is just a big pile, and then you have Deb being a PI and her PI boss, all that's going on. You have Hannah, you have Harrison. I mean, season 8, the ending sucked. Deb died, and it was just such a mess from basically from episode 1 to the end. I obviously watched all of it, but some parts I didn't enjoy, other parts I did. So there's that. But compared to all the other seasons, it's F for sure. The last season just sucked. Wasn't that great? So there's my tier list. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys would change anything, let me know. And comment down below. What was your favorite season and why? Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.